1860 style of baseball that we play has been put under an umbrella in modern times of vintage baseball. And there's actually a Vintage Baseball Association that looks at the rules and does interpretations. They give people guides on how to lay out a field, how to follow the rules, how to put a team together. So there are teams all across the country. And we've gone up to Topeka, Kansas, played the Westerns a couple times. They've come here and played us. We've played some teams from Colorado and Missouri when we've been on the road. We're playing today against the Irving Estelle and the Carrollton Elites.
It was started initially to generate interest in the historical park here. And baseball is kind of a common thread. Men and women like baseball. There's history, and so that was kind of the impetus to get the program started here. And the side benefit is some of us who need exercise get a little exercise too.
So it's a teaching tool. It's an opportunity to teach people about history. History's not always wars and the Depression and things like that. So it's actual history.
Farmers Branch actually has a history of baseball going back to the early 20th century. I think the first team was 1908, and they were the Mustangs. So our team uniforms and colors and the name is actually a tribute to the first Farmers Branch team.
I've been playing this a couple of years. I started in the spring 2 years ago. Saw it in the newsletter that we get here at Farmers Branch. I actually started playing with Carrollton, but I came over and played with Farmers Branch.
I joined the Mustangs in 2009, and the reason for me was just I'm really interested in baseball history. One of the other interesting things, because people back in the 1860s didn't have formal fields the way that we do now, they would literally just go to a meadow or a field and lay out a baseball diamond. And that's a tradition that we still do. When we come to the historical park, the first thing that we do at the beginning of the day for the game is we actually measure out the base paths, we lay out a fresh diamond, and so the field's in a slightly different spot every time.
We do drive in some stakes down the foul lines, and basically our park rules are, we've got some trees out in left field. It's a home run if it hits the trees. It's a ground rule double if it bounces in there. Each field that we play on, they have their own ground rules, kind of like today's game.
And we actually played at Nash Farm in Grapevine, where they've got an animal pen in center field, and the ball goes into the pen sometimes and you have to run in and get it out. In our style of play, one of the differences is that the ball is an inch larger in circumference, and it's got a rubber core, so it's a little bit bouncier. We don't use gloves, and one of the rules in the 1860s was that if the ball was caught on the first bounce, the batter was out. So the runner is able to run as though it were a ground ball, but the batter is out. Pitching is also underhand, so you don't get the fastballs. It's a lot more of a hitter's game. The goal basically just being to get on base and advance the runners, and the strategy is less about pitching.
No overrunning first. We are not going to steal today, so no steals.
As far as base running goes, there's no sliding, no stealing, and we only do a two-step leadoff. One of the interesting things about this style of play is that there were a lot less people involved in the game itself, so the players are actually responsible for marking their own runs. And if I remember correctly, the rule actually states that a player safely touching home is allowed to tally his own ace, because runs were actually initially called aces.
And we just have a great time. We like winning, but at the end of the day, if we win, we win. If we lose, we lose, and we have a good time playing.
For anyone who's interested in joining the Farmers Branch team, either as a player or just to come out and watch the games, we do have a Facebook page. It's facebook.com/FarmersBranchMustangs. And if you want to like that page, shoot us a note. We'd be happy to get in touch with you and let you know when the games are, put you on our email list, come out and practice with us and see if it's something that you're interested in.